Hello, today I will share my personal wish list of things and features I would love to see in this year's Call of Duty. Of course, a lot has been said, and leaked, about the future entry, but today we'll focus on the little, less discussed things. Let's start with my gameplay-oriented desires. Beginning with a controversial, even possibly a hot, take, I would like to see stun grenades be nerfed. Hear me out, I absolutely hate stun grenades. They kill your movement, their effect radius can be quite wide, and the worst thing about them is that they completely take away your ability to aim. This changes the stun from being mildly frustrating to a rage-inducing bouncy thing. If I cannot move, that gives the enemy a much greater advantage over me. Why make it even worse by not letting me turn to see my assailant? Keep the quick flash, the screen shake, and nerfed movement, but don't slow down the sensitivity to the point where you are better off dropping the controller, leaving your room, and taking a nice walk outside than playing the game. Another gameplay pet peeve of mine is Sniper Glint, something that has become industry standard recently. Don't get me wrong, I believe it's a necessity and helps make the game fair. But like any other game mechanic, it has to be implemented correctly, which is what most games aren't doing. Sniper Glint should not be a literal flare to enemies. It should reward players who are paying attention to their surroundings. The glint from high magnification optics should be more subdued, and trails left behind from shots should be present and easy to trace back to their origins, allowing snipers to have opportunities to take shots, and if they miss they are punished for it. I want a Cold War feature to return, the feature being the ability to use two secondaries. This can either be possible by default, or with a perk. It's really up to the devs to look into which option is better. There is one attachment in Modern Warfare's Gunsmith that is almost entirely forgotten, the Bipod. Personally, I have only used the Bipod for cosmetic reasons. It has the benefit of recoil control when crouch or prone, but there are better options in Gunsmith. Additionally, on heavier builds where it would make sense to use a bipod, recoil is not much of a problem. For example, look at sniper rifles. They are such high damage weapons, recoil is basically negligible. My solution to the bipod problem is to add a second set of pros, being an increase in aiming stability when crouched/prone. Heavier ARs, LMGs, marksman and sniper rifles will strongly benefit from this. If you equip a bipod on your sniper, for example, you will be able to stay focused on your target for longer without experiencing a lot of sway. What if akimbo is available on SMGs and shotguns? Oh, the good old days. It would be refreshing to see the legacy gameplay feature return. Of course it would need balancing. A system I think will work quite well is a quote-unquote weight system. Basically, if your attachments are too large or heavy, they are not compatible with akimbo. This way, people won't abuse dual-wield shotguns with super long barrels and extended tubes. All this talk about Gunsmith. I want to share a final wish I have concerning Gunsmith with you. I want to see customization for launchers and melees, not just cosmetic but gameplay modifiers. The way it should be handled is with a perk system, where you can equip a singular perk. Here are some examples, starting with launchers. Sleight of hand, faster reloads. Hipfire, the ability to fire from the hip, resulting in reduced damage, rocket speed, and blast radius. Larger blast. Faster projectile. Stun rockets. Don't call me a hypocrite. I know I complained about stuns earlier, but this isn't as cheap as a tactical. And some example for melees. Fast attacks, increased lunge, silent attacks, faster movement. You get it, don't you? Okay, so that's the end of me talking about Gunsmith. And that is the end of me talking about gameplay. Time to talk about the content I want to see from this game. To start this off, a highly requested feature, ranked playlists, a ranked mode in general. There needs to be a place where you can sit down, play your best, and have something to show for it, separate from the casual experience. One of the more competitive game modes that was introduced in Modern Warfare 2019 and Cold War was Gunfight. I absolutely adore it, and I could make an entire video on its own about Gunfight. Gunfight is an innovation in the department of FPS game modes, a thing that's quite difficult to do in a 30-year-old space. Gunfight takes a few qualities of arena shooters, like even starts and small enclosed maps, and meshes it so well with the COD DNA to create a fast-paced intense game mode. A task I thought was completely impossible and far-fetched. It was really disappointing that it did not return in Vanguard, a worrying sign of the future. And if Infinity Ward goes the same route Sledgehammer did, they will be missing out on a great opportunity. Not only should Infinity Ward bring back Gunfight, but they should expand on it. They should make ranked and hardcore versions of it, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3 playlists, and to bring even loadouts to SND to mix things up. In addition to Gunfight returning, I would love to see Realism and Night Map return. It was such a different experience from regular multiplayer, and in a game that will have a 2-year main lifespan instead of the norm of 1, having more is important. I want Spec Ops to return again, this time meeting the quality bar set by Modern Warfare 2. MW 2019 Spec Ops just didn't feel as good as the OG. Missions should be short and sweet, short meaning there is only one objective, difficult but fair, actually have difficulty options, and be super replayable. Hell, they should remaster some of the MW2 Spec Ops. I would be quite happy. I expect there to be multiple maps for the new leaked mode, DMZ. The way I see it, it's a replacement for Ground War, so there should be more than one map, especially considering that Warzone 2 is going to be doing something with the playspaces in DMZ. Think of Verdansk and how it was essentially a bunch of Ground War maps. Speaking of maps, I wish to see the devs take a lot of inspiration from Modern Warfare 2's map design philosophy. Personally, I loved MW 2019's map design, especially the DLC maps, but I can understand why it is frustrating for others. Infinity Ward shouldn't necessarily abandon what they started in their last entry, but rather build off of it. The maps should feature plenty of verticality and paths, but also strive for simplicity. Now, let's move on to things that are not as prominent as content or gameplay, but are just as important and can make or break your game. The little things, the quality of life things, beginning with everyone's favorite. Skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking has existed since Halo 2, 2004, and it has been a part of Call of Duty since the release of COD 4, Modern Warfare in 2007. That's older than your average gamer today. To be honest, back in those days you didn't hear people complain about skill-based matchmaking, and that's because it was a lot less invasive than it is today. Remember how I mentioned ranked playlists earlier? Have SBMMB tight over there, and loosen it up in social playlists. Give players an incentive to play ranked, public rank, cosmetics, other rewards. The game will be healthier this way. One feature I would like to see in MW 2022 is Theater Mode. Theater Mode is a staple of the Black Ops series. We all know how good IW games look compared to Treyarch games, so it would be nice to have the theater experience in the graphically beautiful game the next COD is undoubtedly going to be. Unlocking Camos and Camo completion, rightfully dubbed as Camo grinding in the last few years, should not be what its nickname is. Weapon camos are a form of progression, and therefore should be fair and represent weapon mastery. In Modern Warfare, there were a lot of camo challenges that were counterintuitive, such as get long shots with SMGs and shotguns, weapons that are designed for close quarters encounters. Others were pretty much impossible. Cue the destroy ground-based streaks with launchers challenge. Modern Warfare 2019 was the first cross-play Call of Duty game, which meant that a lot of love went into the PC version of the game. There were a plethora of options, ranging from video and sound to keyboard bindings. Modern Warfare 2022 should double down on this and provide as many options to the player as possible, while improving on certain aspects like sensitivity multipliers for vehicles. Some ideas of what to add are HUD stats on console, things like FPS, latency, and packet loss, and custom controller bindings. I mentioned crossplay for a reason, and it's because I don't want to see the locking of input devices. If you are a PC player who plays on both, like me, you know what I am talking about. Sometimes you want to switch from mouse and keyboard to controller in the middle of a game, or vice versa, but the game won't let you. I don't see a real reason to do this in a cross-play environment, more so when that environment is casual. Let people like me freely switch between both inputs, outside of competitive settings. I am near the end of my list here, but this is pretty special and its return is long overdue. The implementation of social features. Today's gaming industry forgets that games are a social experience shared by millions. Lifelong friendships are formed over pixels on a screen. There should be pre-game lobbies with the ability to look at someone's in-game career and stats. Post-game lobbies. Lobbies that don't disband after every game. A robust friend, party system, proximity chat, and a way to look for group, in-game. Here are just a few ideas on how to make a game more socially engaging. Last but not least of my seemingly unimportant, random requests is a server browser. Play a modded client of a classic COD game, such as IW4X or Plutonium to see what I mean. There needs to be a way to join other custom lobbies without an invite. This will only bring good to the game, like any other social feature. Okay, so that is everything I wanted to share. Coming off of Modern Warfare 2019, I have very high expectations for this game. I believe Infinity Ward is capable of everything I mentioned in this video. Obviously, most of these things are not going to happen, but if a couple make it into the game, I will be a very happy man. If you liked this video, please like and comment, and share with your friends. Also join my Discord server. I have a second video, this time about Warzone 2, in the making, so look out for that. Until next time.